Good morning, everyone. Who's reading the schedule? Puneet? Okay. Sorry, I guess I will read it. We have a shabd by our dear Nisha, and then an introduction by me, and a talk by Dr. Chand. Okay, so I'll play the shabd from Nisha. I don't know where our Sabidars went.
Radha Swami. Today's hymn is by Guru Arjan Das Ji. Here Guru Arjan Das Ji says, Your servant offers this prayer, O beloved, I live by meditating upon you. You are infinite, only a few know this. Only by Master's grace, through the Shabad, can one understand you. My merciful Lord, great giver, He alone can know you, whomsoever you so bless. Forever I sacrifice myself at your feet. Here and thereafter I seek your refuge. I have no virtues at all, O Nanak. Only in the company of saints does my mind remember you and gets peace. सेवक की अरदास प्यारे सेवक की अरदास जप जीवा प्रभ चरण तुम्हारे, सेवक की अरदास प्यारे। तू बेअंत को विरला जाने, गुर प्रसाद को शब्द पछाणे। तू बेअंत को विरला जाने, गुर प्रसाद को शब्द पछाणे। दयाल पूरख मेरे प्रभु दाते, जिसे जनावो तिन्हें तुम जाते। सेवक की अरदास प्यारे, जप जीवा प्रभु चरण तुम्हारे। सेवक की अरदास प्यारे। सदा सदा जाए बलहारी, इत उत देखूं ओट तुम्हारी। सदा सदा जाए बलहारी, इत उत देखूं ओट तुम्हारी। मोहे निर्गुण गुण किछु न जाता, नानक साधु देख मन राता। सेवक की अरदास प्यारी, जप जीवा प्रभु चरण तुम्हारे। सेवक की अरदास प्यारी, सेवक की अरदास प्यारी। थैंक यू मास्टर, थैंक यू लॉर्ड राधा स्वामी।
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Um, Thank you, dear Sister Nisha, for your just godly voice. Such a wonderful shabd, and also so wonderful to have you sing for us. We really appreciate your seva and your voice and your love and devotion to our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji. And the shabd that Brother Anoop he chose in the morning, I didn't want to stop it. It was so beautiful and so true. Of that really there is no friend for us in this world other than the Master, and all our relations, our friends, our families, they are just karmic relationships that don't have any love for us. Once the karma is over, then we don't see them anymore. They just lose us. We lose thought of them, and they lose thought of us. It's only a give and take relationship, and that's why in this world I feel like a stranger among strangers. In this strange world, I feel like a stranger. And this has been like that since my seeking started. Even since I was a baby, one time I remember I was laying on the bed of my mom and dad, and they were on the bed. I was just like few years old, and all of a sudden I'm like, where am I? And who are these people? Why am I here? I remember that moment still up to now. me wondering who are these people and why am I here. It's like I felt that I was in a strange land among strangers. Stranger, stranger among strangers is what I felt at that point. And that feeling kept with me, kept with me when even when I was in my 20s. I was feeling that, whoa, why am I here? Why am I in this world? I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I felt like a stranger and I could not relate to this world. I went to the university and I couldn't find any subject that would satisfy me. I went through my BA and I chose a subject that I didn't like. Then I went through my master's and I did my master's in accounting because I didn't know what to do and I just chose accounting. And I felt that I couldn't even stand it, that I was just doing it because of I made it. But what I really loved my whole life was going to bookstores. There was a Borders bookstore next to my house, next to my apartment on Michigan Avenue, and I would find myself going there every day and trying to find books of spirituality, from Rumi, Hafiz, and all types of anything that had to do with God. I would read Buddhism and just my soul knew that it doesn't belong here. It has to leave. It has to leave. And by God's grace, by Master's grace, by just I was showered. I was showered with grace to meet my master Sant Singh, who showed me the way and gave me a way out of this world. That even though I have karma, I can be here in this world because of destiny, karma, and fate. Yet there is a way for all the lovers of God where they are still in this world, while we are still in this world, that we can step up to hear the third eye center. And then for moments, for hours, as long as we want, if our mind is still, and if we are focused on the doorway, the secret doorway that leads to life, the secret doorway that leads to bliss, the secret doorway that leads to joy, the secret doorway that brings contentment and satisfaction. He gave us a way out, a way out. The God lovers have a way out that from this turbulent world, we can just step up here. And even though we still have a foot in this world, yet we can lift our foot for both feet for a moment and slip into a different dimension, into a different world, into a different reality. That reality is our true reality. We have an escape route. We have an escape route that has been opened for us. And this escape route, we can just slip out of this world whenever we want, as this doorway, the secret doorway inside of us is there open 24/7. It's open 24/7 with someone that is ready to greet us with open arms, is ready to greet us with full love and full showering everything on us. All what we have to do is just step over here, step over here. And this is the path of spirituality, is to be able to step over here. Because stepping over here does not come without pain. As they say, there is no gain without pain. There is no gain without pain. And in this world, it is like the Roadrunner. Have you ever seen the Roadrunner, the Roadrunner cartoon on TV? It is like the Roadrunner, where the coyote is always trying to, persistent. He is persistent on catching the roadrunner, and he is advising all types of devious means and ways to just trap the road runner, and the road runner is always uh, being smarter than the coyote, and dissolving the coyote's plans when it backfires on him. And instead of the road runner falling in the trap, the coyote himself that did the trap falls into the trap. And this is the same thing, that there is no pain, there is no gain without pain, that we have to put the effort in the beginning, the effort to come up here. The effort to come up here is a hard effort. Why is it hard effort? Because of the coyote in the roadrunner. He's always trying to take our attention from that real way, the escape way that leads to bliss and life, that leads to enjoyments, that leads to feeling of contentment, to lead it leads to being touched by the Lord, being touched by the Lord. As we get touched by the Lord when we come over here, we spend time with God. We spend time in the kingdom of God. Even though sometimes when we come back to this world, we forget that reality. We forget that reality, but we still carry the taste of bliss. We still carry the taste of joy and the grace that came from that land that is not a stranger land. That land is not strange to us. That that is our true home. In our true home, we feel that we belong. We feel that we belong. And all of us here have that ability to come up here. And to come up here, we have to put effort. And effort leads to grace, is that we have to put the effort. There is no gain without pain, that we have to put the effort. And what is the effort we are putting? The effort that we are putting is trying our best to just weed out all the barriers, all those chains that take our attention down when we come up here. So the best way to take a bird's eye on our spiritual situation and see what barriers are holding us is try to come up here for 5 minutes and see all these forces that come up, our attachments that come up and pull us back down, our desires that come up and pull us back down, all these bonds and fetters that are put on us. If we try to come up here, we see all of them. They come up one by one. We get rid of one, and then we try to sit up here, and then another one, another weakness of our in us comes up that pulls us back down. So the whole path, the pain is the effort, and the effort is try to see the barriers. The barriers have to be removed. We try to remove our barriers, and we at the end fail. We at the end fail because God wants to show us that we are nothing. But we have to put the effort, and the effort brings the grace. And only by the grace of the Master, only by the grace of our Holy Father, then He opens the doorway and He gives us a chance to go inside. He gives us a chance to go inside. That comes by grace. By grace, sometimes we slip inside and we are no more in this world, but we are enjoying our higher self. We are enjoying our higher self, and our soul is being fed by the manna of life, by the water of life. It's being nourished and it is growing. It is growing in God. But but the real thing is that we with our own effort and with the grace of the Master, together working hand in hand, have to remove all the barriers, all the walls that stand between us and this doorway, that take us away from this doorway, have to slowly be removed one by one, one by one. And Master is working. No effort on us goes unrecognized. All effort that we put in is being watched by Father God, is being watched by the Master. And accordingly he showers his grace. Accordingly he showers his grace. So no effort goes to waste on the path of spirituality, even though sometimes it seems that we are being pulled away from the path or we are going down spiritually. But that is not the case. The case is we are paying off our karma, and if we are sincere seekers, if we are sincere seekers and we try our best and leave the rest to master. Try our best to just be on the path, be in the path, be in the path of spirituality. Make Saint Matt revolve, revolve around us. Make Saint Matt the core of our life and try to live in the commandments of the Master. Try to introspect ourselves. Try to attend satsang. Satsang and seva brings grace. Satsang and seva brings grace, and grace ultimately brings enlightenment. When we sit together in this circle of lovers, in this circle of lovers, we are all there is one thing common between all of us, the circle of lovers. What is it? That even there is something common between the speaker and the listener. And what is common between the speaker and the listener? That we are all beggars. We are all beggars. We are all beggars of the love of God. And all of us, the speakers and the listeners, all of us who participate in this circle of love, at our core, in the middle of this circle, stands the master power, stands our perfect master. And he showers us with his grace. He showers us with his grace. No, no one, no one who has his attention concentrated in satsang does not get his cup filled. Everybody gets his cup filled when we sit in the circle of the lovers. The speaker gets his cup filled from the master, and the listener gets his cup filled by the master. We are all beggars. We are all beggars sitting at the doorway of God, sitting, just begging to enter the land of grace, begging to enter our true home. And we will spend this lifetime this way, just trying our best and leaving the rest to master, putting the effort and then waiting for the grace. We will keep doing seva, seva, and seva, unstoppable satsang every day. When that would keep the grace coming, it will keep us on the way of God. And every day we get richer. Every day our roots in God go deeper. Every day one bondage, one fetter, one chain is being loosened and cut by the master power. And we are little bit lighter to come up and to enjoy more and more and more. So, my dear brothers and sisters, we are to stick to the path. We are to stick to the path, and brave ones never abandon their post. Brave ones never abandon their post, and they keep fighting for God. They keep fighting for God because one thing that I said in the beginning, there is no gain without pain. We all have to go through the fires of purification. Those fires of purification hurt. They hurt and they hurt because the washerman has to scrub the cloth, has to scrub the cloth hard, have to beat it against the stone sometimes to get all the dirt out. And steel does not bend without putting it in the fire. You have to put the steel in the fire. The steel has to become red, fire hot, and then it can be bent. And the same way in this life, while the washerman washes us from all our misgivings, from all our sins, from all our karmas, and from all our chains and fetters that hold us to this world, it is not easy. It is not an easy path. It is for the brave. We have to withstand the cleaning. We have to withstand the cleaning. And to be brave is to stick with the cleaning and stick with the path no matter what. no matter what happens to us, always keep ourselves revolved around that beautiful one that lives inside of us. Whatever happens to us, we give our thanks and we keep our gratitude and we keep our meditation. We keep our meditation regularly. We keep our meditation regularly. That way, we will keep on rising in God. We will keep on rising in the kingdom of God. Um, this is what I wanted to say today. Maybe I'll read to you before Dr. Chan. I'll read to you a poem from Kabir because I wanted to read to you a poem from Kabir yesterday, and I forgot. Uh, so here is like the first. Uh, this is the devotee's earnest prayer at the Lord's feet when he looks at his shortcomings and misdeeds, because I was talking about shortcomings and misdeed, he feels that God, from whom nothing can be kept hidden, will not forgive him. He shrinks at the idea of paying for his evil actions, knowing that the retribution must be long and heavy. In all humility, he surrenders himself at the feet of the Almighty and prays to be forgiven. This is a poem from Kabir himself. Lord, thou art my Father, pay heed to my humble prayer. Many misdeeds have I done, deeds I kept concealed from others, but which no secret to thee. Lust and desire corrupted my mind, and many a wrong have I done. I look at them, and my heart shudders. With fear and shame, Almighty Lord, I implore thee, concede my prayer. First, grant me thy pardon, then ask me to reckon for my misdeed, says Kabir. Mighty Lord, thou art my Father. I have now taken the refuge of thy lotus feet. Pray grant me thy pardon, then ask me to reckon for my sins. Here's another poem from Saint Kabir. Lord, I am the weaver of thy name. I weave and reap the profit of inner rapport with thee. I weave the cloth of thy name, O Lord. I have firmly strung my loom with 1,000 threads. The sun and moon I hold as my witness. Endless I count thy name. Wow. Endlessly I count thy name and take it as my wages. I gently deposit it within the lotus of my heart. I am the weaver of thy name. Surat and Nirat are the two pegs that hold the frame of my loom. Wow, what a beautiful poem to inspire us to keep the word of God repeating Simran endlessly. And let me read another one. I weave with care and discernment the cloth of thy name. I weave and reap the profit of inner rapport with thee. I have loaded with the yarns of divine knowledge. While engaged in such weaving, I realized my own true self, sublime and imperishable, is the wealth I have earned, and I have gained the state of a perfect peace. Lord, I am the weaver of thy name. I weave and reap the profit of inner rapport with thee. In vain men search for him in mountains and dales. Within my body I found him, so close to me. I weave the cloth of the Lord's name. Repetition I made the bar, I don't know, Dabber, to clean and purify my mind. Realization I made the comb to remove the twists and twirls that entangled my being, thus became immaculate. I remain absorbed in his love. Wow, I remain absorbed in his love without wandering about. I earned the gift of love within my own home. I am the weaver of the Lord's name. The fruitless toil of weaving for the world has come to an end. Wow, the fruitless toil of weaving for the world has come to an end. Evil tendencies have on defeated. I have attained the dazzling state of bliss, free from fear, free from pain. Kabir, thy slave, thus weaving, realized supreme truth. His doubts are dissolved, his misery ended. I am the weaver, O Lord, of thy name. I weave and reap the profit of inner rapport with thee. Wow, how beautiful that Kabir tells us the secret of the path just in this poem, that he remains absorbed in the Lord. His remaining absorbed in the Lord put an end to the evil tendencies of the mind. That means his mind became pure, and all the fruitless toil he put in this world, in the friends and family and relations, has come to an end. God paid his accounts, and now he is just enjoying. He is just enjoying in this world. He has died to everything of this world, and he looks like he is alive in this world, but he is living in God, in the kingdom of God, enjoying, and enjoying. That is the life of Kabir, that he was in this world, but out of this world. He was in this world, but actually dead to the world and living in God and the kingdom of God. This is what. Thank you, Master, for the seva, and I'm looking forward for our dear brother, Dr. Chand, who just showers us with God's love every week.
Welcome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So I'm just here. Today we have got a very good subject, very good topic. Let us live the way God wants us to live. Now, understanding this is a is an area which every day you listen in the satsang. All of us listen to that. And the best part of this is that uh, how to live the God wants us to live. There are two gods. Now, understanding the gods, and who are those two gods? One is Kal. Kal means the god of time and material, in whose domain we are here and visiting. Now, understanding these two gods is very, very important in life, because the other one is Dayal. He is merciful, and he is Vaheguru, and he is that who comes and meets you here also in the physical form as well. But then he has to come in this physical form, which is the domain of Kal, and he comes here and he suffers like all others. He suffers like all others, and he visits this uh, this physical form just for the love of those souls who have been trapped here. He been waiting for them there, and we are involved in time and material. So the other god, which is known as Kal, means the time and material, Kal and Maya. So he created these two things, Kal and Maya. And in this Kal and Maya, we got involved into this Kal and Maya. And then we forgot about our source, because we thought that we are this body. And this body, and gradually over the time we could understand, no, we are the mind. I know everything. So that kind of a feel that I know everything is is our ego, and that is what is our mind. Whereas this mind is connected with layers of minds. One is a physical mind here, another is an astral mind, the next one is a causal mind where we took decisions, and then the universal mind. So this king of time, which is known as Kal, it is his domain. So as in the earlier satsang also I said when I was talking on dreams into dreams into dreams. So now Kal, who's again part of the absolute, part of Dayal of course, but then he requested the Dayal to allow him to make a time-bound material creation. So he made that. So that is what is his domain. And it started as per science 13.7 billion years ago and will go on for another 22 billion years as science is pre-calculating on those the things which they have understood and pre-calculate the future and could know this, that this all started 13.7 billion years ago and 22 billion years it will go further. Now this domain of Kal is there, and we as souls, part of the absolute, took a decision to come. Now once we come here and enter the domain and then gradually developed the causal mind and the causal body as senses, that we will, because cause was to come and feel the creation. To feel the creation, you needed certain uh, senses to sense it. So you had a small sketch of a human body. Then to implement this sketch, you developed the astral mind and an astral body. And in this astral mind and astral body, you developed the sense perceptions as beautifully explained by Ishwar Puriji. Now these sense perceptions you have made, and you have gotten programmed from a single cell to graduate to the crown of creation, the human body. What you are doing, you are using the time and material, means the information system and laws of nature created by Kal. So you have acquired the mind and now you are entering the domain. You are connected with the absolute. So you are coming further and you have acquired this mind and having all those laws of nature and information system with it. Then you refine it further, as I was saying, that astral mind and astral body. In this we have got right from the single cell. If you go through the science books, you will know when the first single cell started, certain, millions of years, not billions. So millions of years it all started, and then it all graduated, from 8.4 million species, and you created this human body by using the laws of nature and information system provided by the Kal. And you use the material which is Maya, which the Kal created. All those 100 and odd elements and the molten earth and the water came in and all those things, which you understand through science. So you, after that astral mind and astral body, you created the next dream of a physical body and a physical mind. And that is how you are here and going through these experiences. Now the today's topic is Tera Bhana Meetha Lage. Let us live the way he wants us to live. Now we got to consider those two gods, One is the god of time and material, which really puts you here. And all those areas of lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries. This is what is an area, which is your mind. Here, the physical mind. And the physical needs, hunger, clothes, housing, vanities of the world, and sex and sleep. Now, as soon as you leave here, you go to the astral level, then you don't have this kind of a heavy body with all those materials hanging on it. Then you are free. You can even fly and you don't have that weight. So there you've been coming and going time and again. So you've been to your astral mind and astral body many a times, time and again, because 8.4 million species you've been going and coming to the physical part. Again going back to the astral form and again coming back to the physical form. So you've been shifting, time and again. You have got that experience, In the last talk, I did explain something of that kind. Now, how we can live in the divine will, that is what is the subject today. Now, it is all pre-decided, my dear. You have heard it from Ishwar Puriji also, that you created your own DVD. You took a, you decided. There were many choices available, but then you decided what to see. As sometimes he also tells us, Ishwar Puriji, that you buy a ticket to go to a movie. There are many kinds of movies. One is a love story, another is a horror movie. So you decided something. And this decision is the will of you rather. And you are the God yourself because you are part of the absolute. You are representing. So you took a decision. Now the way you have done all your karma till now, because this is a decisive area of this particular life when you get a perfect living master. So now here you have been told almost everything. Now having this knowledge with you is something great, it's something supreme. And that makes you so light that first of all, you understand through the talks in the satsang, and Michael is organizing all those kind of satsangs, you hear all top perfect living masters, their the way they make you understand, because each one of them makes you understand little differently here and there. Some of them talk a very simple language. It was a beautiful language, which I could see that Thakur Singh Ji Maharaj been explaining this in that beautiful language. But once you look at Ishwar Puri Ji explains it differently, Kripal Singh Ji explains it differently. So all of them in their own manner. And I try to explain because my mother taught me a few things and they all descended, and I explain in my own manner. Michael explains it differently. He explains it through Rumi or any other, spiritual living masters, like Kabir and all others. Now, here it is all predestined and preset. This time-bound material creation is predestined, my dear. The next morning, the sun will come at a specific time. And in the winters, it will be at this angle. And the earth will rotate this way in these many hours, and this is how the weathers and other things will come. This is all predestined, my dear. Something similar, that dukh and sukh means the happiness or the sorrows will keep on going one after the other as the weather comes. Sometimes it is too hot, sometimes it is too cold. So now this is what will keep on happening. But how you go through it is your attitude practically. And how the information of the mind changes that and makes you feel bad or good. Whereas you have got that ability of the soul. Let us face as it comes. We are all tuned to live in any kind of conditions, because we have gone through 8.4 million species. So we have got all that experience, and we forget that experience, At least in this technical satsangs which you've been listening from Ishwar Puri Ji, and the way I am trying to explain with co-aim theory and practice, that the correlation of your attention with the information which is your mind and the material which is your body. So this correlation of your attention with information and material, clarifies things in a beautiful manner, that it is all predestined, because we are like a fetus in the mother's womb, and it is all predestined that we grow and become young boy, be married, and the life goes on till the time we got to die. It is all predestined. And if you know that your soul has got a beautiful attribute, let us face as it comes. It is already there. You have survived in all the conditions, whether It was a small little fish in the Siberian region, under the frozen sea. It is still alive there, so it has gone through all those conditions. It is a soul. So your soul has got all those experiences. So don't get emotional, because what is happening, I explained this part, that body and mind together, they create emotions, and emotions create terrorists out of you. It is so simple to understand, because if you look at those permutations and combinations of the attributes of the body and attributes of the mind, and mind, lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries, because you pre-calculate the future. And if you multiply all these permutations and combinations into the needs of your body, which is hunger, clothes, housing, vanities of the world, sex, and sleep. Now, looking at this, it is all predestined, going up and down, up and down. And this is what will keep on happening. We are so lucky now that we got the perfect living masters to tell us that let us face things as they come in life, because you have already got those karma, that karma part which you really developed. You know that. It is all predestined. So quietly, without feeling anything, without becoming emotional, just pass through this happily, dancing, that you have been given this opportunity to go through good and bad both. So you have to enjoy both good and bad equally, without making a discrimination in that, and without allowing your mind and body to revolt, because they will create an emotion and then they will revolt. And this is what happens. And that is what makes us so sad. Even those attachments with our family people, as Michael was saying today, that it is just a relationship. We have come here for our karma. We have to pay something to the family members, or we got to take something from the family members. And how Carl creates that part, beautifully well, that particular soul, having that particular information, it goes on into that kind of a eating food, etc. And finally it gets into a sperm and then gets into the mother's womb. What a complex system. Of course, science has yet to go there, because it is hardly 200 years of this science. And gradually, this science will be sorting out this, that how we have reincarnations, how the body which we leave here, mind and soul leave the body, and then how the mind organizes. As in the scriptures it is beautifully said, antmataha sokataha, means at the time of death, whatever your mind is thinking, you will become that. Because mind is using you and make you think of that, and that will draw, because the forces of the mind are, if you look at that, these are gravitational magnetic fields and various kinds of frequencies. 2G, 3G, 6G, internet, the whole satellite communication, and the movements, gravitational magnetic fields, like nuclear forces, their weak and strong interactions. How much? Oh, it's a huge, big area. Billions of years, light years it is across. So this is what the mind is. And as my mother said, don't fight the mind. Make him a friend. Because the mind is information based. And in the Sant here, at this platform of daily satsang, Michael and Sarah and all other sevadars are organizing. This is how you are so lucky that you are going to get all these talks. And at times you can understand this part so well. And if there are any questions, so please don't hesitate to ask them. Because the Almighty blesses certain answers. Of course, as a human being, I don't have those answers, but the Absolute has. So as soon as You give those answers, the Absolute comes and helps, and He answers that. And that is what I remember when I told you earlier also, when Ishwar Puriji, I was driving him home in Delhi. He was to go to his sister's house, and I was driving him. And he said that the satsang descends on us. We don't speak. He speaks out of you. Even whatever Michael is telling, it comes from there. And that is how that Shabad percolates through the whole cosmos, through all those minds, universal, causal, astral, physical. And this is how to live in His will. So we have already decided. So please don't feel sad or bad about the situation you are in, because you are so lucky that you are having all this knowledge. Not to get bothered. Even Mohanji's satsang could tell you that how the life went, and he took it so easy. Without any money, he reached Delhi, and walking out, looking at a person who's changing their tires. He's a motor mechanic. He says, "Will you work with me?" He said, "Yes, I will." So, how he interacted, that humbly accepted that job. So something strange happens in everybody's life. And you should not, have those ups and downs, The, the blood pressure will go up and down. You will become angry or sometimes low, sometimes depression, sometimes that. But if you maintain yourself that you are a soul, you have been told many times that you have got an acquired mind and a created body. You are a soul. Soul is on a sojourn of this time-bound material creation. So let us experience everything and let us guide each other. I could know the notes of Phelps. Mr. Phelps was there in Swamiji's time in Agra, and he was his disciple. He wrote a beautiful book. I don't have that book. I was trying to find it out. And he writes there in this book that we satsangis should talk to each other, our progress, our things, how the other fellow is understanding things, how I am understanding things. So this is what Michael is doing here. We are all listening to each other's talks. There are many speakers now, more of us, so that you can understand the nitty-gritties of the whole concept. And let us live the way He wants us to live, because He is. Even now, I'll give you another example. Ishwar Puriji the other day said that suppose if He has given you a pen in your hand, then it is your job to write. If you're standing at the kitchen, you are doing that cooking job. So you must do that nicely. If you're visiting an office, do that thing nicely, because it is predestined. So tera bhana meetha lage. Let us live the way He wants us to live. So we meet people and we talk to others. There is a situation, and all those situations He is doing it. Now we should not. We should bank upon those intuitions. He has told you the method to live here, and these intuitions will automatically come. The gut feelings will happen, and things will happen. Michael also told once that his car broke down and things happened like that, the insurance policy and all that. Now look how those gut feelings they create. So now if you are in a problem, your attention goes to the Absolute to help, isn't that? So that attention which gets connected to its source, and that source is connected to all of us, the whole of humanity. So He will send intuitions to the other fellow to help you. Something wonderful is there, my dear. This system is flawless. But if we understand, if we don't understand, then we will get emotional, and emotions will create problems for you. So you have not to become emotional at all. You are watching what things are happening, as if Again, I'll give an example. Ishwar Puriji told that you have bought a ticket, you are sitting in a cinema hall and watching what is happening there on the screen. So this is what, and sometimes Ishwar Puriji also used to cry because he will emotionally get involved into that scene. And that is what happens. So now if you understand that you are here, and it's a small little part, my dear, a small little window of not more than 100 years, approximately that. But there are billions of years back and forth in the past and in the future. So in the future, we don't want to get trapped into it. So they told us a beautiful method that Us bid rahiye jis bidhi rakhe Ram. It is in Ramayana. You should live the way the Lord wants you to live. So if you live like that, then it is very easy to meditate, my dear. If you don't, then you are in a problem. The mind won't let you meditate. It'll create those problems. If you're going with the flow, that's how Ishwar Puriji says, let's go with the flow. So now the flow is happening, and whatever high tide, low tides are happening, let's go through that. And luckily, the boat which you are in of perfect living masters will take you safe. It'll take you out of this sea, which has got so much of turmoil, so much of tornadoes there, the rough seas and everything. But you are on a very good boat, and this boat gives you all that knowledge. And that's what I wanted to say today. Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks a lot. And if there are questions, we must have a small little time for the questions also of the satsangis because they are all listening. But sometimes they must be willing to know certain things. So I am always of the view that they should always ask their questions, whether they can send their questions. We have got a app in WhatsApp. We had a portion of question answers. So please make it simpler for us to understand with each other, as Mr. Phelps in Swamiji's time he wrote that we should talk about this. Satsangis should talk to each other to solve their problems. Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks.
Dr. Chand, may God keep you with us for many, many years, and we can enjoy satsang together in the company of truth. Just your demeanor and your energy and your subtleness, I enjoy.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you
enjoy.
very much.
And please give us the darshan of your mom. Take a short video. We haven't seen her for a while. So
Yeah, I
when
will. I'll do that. I'll post it. I'll take her
yeah.
small little bit because we are taking so much of care since my sister is suffering here in the same building. So we take a lot of care for our mother so that nobody should go in that region.
Oh, your
The
sister
room,
is what? Your sister is suffering what? Oh, she from
from
corona?
corona, yes, and she is
Oh,
now improving very well.
okay.
She is improving very well. We are all taking care. So we take a lot of care, we don't intrude. It is only Sadhana ji goes into her room in the morning and, another boy is helping. So Sadhana ji, I'll request her to make a small little video of my mother and send you
Please.
on the app, like Telegram or on WhatsApp. She will do
Yeah.
that part. She will
Okay.
do that part. That's right.
I'm looking forward. We are all looking forward.
Yeah, I will tell her to do that.
Yeah.
You get her
So
blessings, that way.
yes, yes, we need her blessings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
Right.
a great satsang today. Just feeling
Thank
master and just
you.
knowing that we are in this world having our own destiny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yet we have a possibility to slip into God, to slip into our true home. And when we come back, then
yeah.
we will be fortified, carrying the
Right.
bliss of our Holy Father with us in
Yes,
this world.
very
That's
well
the most
explained.
beautiful thing that we just go in, meditate, slip into God, and then come back
Yeah,
fortified with love,
yeah,
fortified with the love and the bliss. And then we
certainly.
walk in this world easily.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
the
And
most,
let us face as it comes, Let us face
yeah,
as it comes.
yes.
Because this particular ability to go inside and then to come out and then live here is a beautiful area, and we can all do that. It is easier. It is easier.
All
That's great.
right. So now we can do 5 minutes meditation, and then I'll choose a video on random of our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji.
Thank
I
you very
just
much.
like was watching Mohan Ji when the darshan of Ishwar came and how he folded his hands like that and
Yeah,
went like this. I just
yeah,
I melted. I melted when I saw Mohan Ji, just his love for our Father Ishwar Puri.
yeah. He does it so.
Yes.
I mean, his postures are like that all the time. I can even when I just about half an hour earlier, I was passing near his door, and he was chanting some of the Shabads. He was just enjoying all alone and singing all those praises and all those Shabads he keeps on repeating. Wonderful.
Wow, it
That's
must be like
the,
the greatest blessing to have him, to
yeah,
have
yeah,
Mohan Ji.
and then he's intoxicated and enjoying his shabads, and we listen and everybody feels happy about that.
Wow. Wow. This is our future, that this path we have to grow. We have to
Yeah,
grow. And
yeah,
Mohan Ji and everybody who's older who have stayed in the boat of Master, then they can become an example for us to be
yeah, they are.
an example of a perfect satsangi who
Right.
not only is satsangi, but satsangi in spirit,
Yeah,
gurumukh, and then we can look at them and just the seeing the subtle energy that comes from them and
yeah,
just enjoying their bliss, and it gives
right,
us
right,
wanting to step forward and become like them.
right.
That's what.
That's right.
Yes.
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Please
Master.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Happening because of events we think have not happened because we forgot them. Subconscious mind never forgets anything. It stores everything. And with the suitable triggers, what is hidden in the subconsciousness can be brought into consciousness itself. That is the job of the psychoanalyst, of the psychiatrist, that if some problems are arising in our behavior, in our emotional state, because of something that we think is forgotten, which is not really forgotten, but is pushing us from the bottom, and we can't see it, they will use triggers to bring it up into the surface by making us talk about past events and talking about the events when those events could have been buried. Most of these events in one single physical life are buried in early childhood, when the child can experience trauma over things over which adults won't experience. And trauma is stored. The child becomes an adult, and the trauma is hitting from inside, from the subconscious. And the conscious doesn't know why it's happening like that. A clever psychoanalyst, a clever psychiatrist can go and create triggers about childhood. And when that particular event will come, the subconscious will render a more strong emotional reaction. A child may start crying, screaming over something that happened in childhood and eventually remember what happened. The whole idea of healing through psychoanalysis or psychiatry is that if you can bring up into awareness things that are hidden in the subconscious and talk it out, the talking out will clear it up. It was not so serious as you think. It was serious because you were a child. Now you are an adult. You are replaying that emotional role as an adult, and it clears up that. And therefore your behavior and emotional state changes when you are an adult. That's the very basis. Sometimes they call it the talking out cure, that you make a person talk about earlier things, and all the subconscious things come up to the surface. Subconscious is a very essential part of the mind. Mind stores so much stuff. Mind stores stuff in every life of ours. Mind even starts storing when it's not very active, such as when it's a form other than human. In an animal form, it stores experiences of the animal. A little mouse is running around and is afraid of certain things, and we don't know what it's afraid of. It's afraid of the subconscious pushing the earlier episode that has happened with that mouse when it was not a mouse. Therefore, the subconscious mind is responsible for carrying our sinchit karma. The sinchit karma is not carried by the conscious mind. The reserved karma, which comes up to create our destinies, is all hidden in the subconscious mind. And that is why the subconscious mind plays a very important role in our reincarnations over here again and again, and in our behavior and style in different incarnations that we make here, in different forms. So it's not a part of the soul. The soul, by identifying with the mind, has created problems that are arising in the mind, and the soul thinks it's the soul's problems. That's a misidentification with the mind.
Our physical, astral, and causal bodies have different lifespans. How does reincarnation work with each body?
We reincarnate, that means we get fresh new lives to be born again and again in the physical plane because of a single long life in the astral plane. If we die in the astral plane, we can't have another birth in the physical plane. It's not a direct that the soul will step into a physical body. The soul does not directly step into a physical body. The soul first steps into the mind. And then from the mind it steps into the sensory astral body. From the astral body it steps into the physical body, in that order. Therefore, the reincarnation at physical level is all taking place because of the astral system still operating and not dead. When that dies, physical activity stops. The astral life is long and ends. When the astral life ends, there are no sensory perceptions, no physical bodies are created because it goes back to the mind, which has a longer life. The mind can reincarnate as an astral body. The mind then functions. Whenever this incarnation is taking place, at each time, the power of life to each incarnation is still being provided by the same soul. The soul is the powerhouse that makes life. Soul is the powerhouse that makes awareness available to have experience of life at any level. So far as the mental body, the causal body is concerned, which has a very long life, it normally stays for so long that almost matches the lower part of dissolution and dissolves with it. It's called paralaya. Paralaya means dissolution of the whole universe. When the whole universe dissolves, the souls in the causal plane also get dissolved, no reincarnation even as mind or astral body or as physical body. Where are the souls held? They are held in a certain section of the lower part of Parbrahm, where they stay till a new series of worlds is created and they are reincarnated again from there as minds, and then from minds as astral bodies to physical bodies. Same cycle repeated. What happens if the entire system is dissolved? When the entire system is dissolved, which we call the grand dissolution or Mahapralaya, in Mahapralaya, everything is destroyed. Everything ceases to exist, including the physical universes, including the astral universes, including the causal mental universes, including universal mind. All that is completely wiped out. And the souls have to then go from the lower part of Parbrahm, where they stay in dissolution, to the upper part of Parbrahm, which survives even a grand dissolution. So when the grand dissolution has taken place, the upper part of Parbrahm is known as part of Sachkhand. It always is a part of Sachkhand, even now. It is where individuation takes place from totality. So the upper part of Parbrahm is different from the lower part of Parbrahm. It looks the same, is combined. So it's very strange that there can be people stuck there. And they have no minds, they have gone beyond mind, they are gone beyond senses, beyond physical bodies, they are souls, but they're stuck there thinking that's Sachkhand. But that is still controlled by a timeless time. Time is a very strange feature which distinguishes all these levels. At the physical level, time runs by clocks. If we don't have a clock, the time doesn't run. We can be bored for a long time. Supposing the clock was how we feel. We'll all have different clocks, first of all. All have different times. And time will run very fast when we are happy and enjoying ourselves. And time will slow down to trickle if we are sad, depressed, or angry, or other negative emotions. Time seems to slow down and even stop. So this time in the physical plane has this strange nature of being regulated by an artificial machine which says, though you felt it was 10 minutes, it was 1 hour. You felt it was 2 hours, it was 1 hour. We will not rely on what we felt, we rely on what the clock says. That's the physical time. But even so, even as physical time determined by something external to our own experience, which may make our experience of time, time only flows in one direction. It flows only, that is, something is not happened, is going to happen in a future time called future. What has already happened has moved away into past time, we call past, and that they can never change. Past cannot become future, and future cannot become past. They are both in their own place, and we are moving, ticking along at a single space. If I use a typewriter's analogy, we are moving forward at a single space speed. Time is moving at the same speed because we rely on the clocks and the calendars. So this is the nature of time on the physical plane. When we go to the astral plane, time is more variable. We can stop it. We can change its pace to some extent. We can speed up some things there. And we can completely freeze it also. We like a particular scene, we observe it, we hold it. We can hold it and move on, which cannot be done in a physical time. You can't hold time here. There's a big experience, a very big difference of experience. Secondly, there's one common thing, that the time, even in the astral planes, moves forward. It does not move backwards. Then we go to the next higher stage, above the sensory perceptions, into pure mental concepts and conceptual knowledge of the mind. There, time is merely a flexible thing, used to generate events. Their events are generated upon time and placed in space and time that has been created there in the causal plane. We place the events, birth and other events, and then death. We place it in at once, at one time. When we say we pick up a DVD to live a life, all events are placed on time. It's a timeline. And then we do time travel, which we are doing even now. But we're not realizing we're doing time travel. Events have been placed already. And that's where we know that the events have been placed like this, and those events come one after the other. We are time traveling to have those events happen to us. And we think that we are going through time, that time is flowing through us. We are reversing the actual truth. There you find the truth, that the events had been placed before you reached them, that there was no difference between spatial events and time events. So on that time, since you know the events exist both in the past and future of the physical universe, you can move wherever you like. If you are moving backwards on time in the causal plane, you are making past into a future, because you are seeing something that happened, and you're seeing what will happen yesterday, and day before yesterday. You are making your yesterdays and day before yesterdays into tomorrows and day after tomorrows. And that possibility is only possible at the causal plane. It's not possible in the astral plane, not possible in the physical plane. Then you go above that to the Parbrahm lower state, where time is being generated as an instrument. There we have timeless time. Now, that's a very difficult concept. The difficulty is that all language I use is confined to what the mind can see. I am going to tell you something that the mind can't see, but spiritually you may have some idea what I'm talking about. But it will be good enough if you can feel it and not understand it or see it. All events that I talk of, placed on timeline in the causal plane, collapse. Events collapse into zero time, and they remain collapsed and are able to be opened up again into time in Parbrahm, in the pure spiritual region of the soul. Even the lower part of Parbrahm has this capacity, because how was time generated in the first place? That's how it was generated. At the lower part of Parbrahm, the events are created in zero time, zero space. They are not created over time. Time is created. Events and time are created at the same time there, and then you brought them to the mental level and open it up into time. Then you can move both ways and see, is it okay? This I had placed in zero time, I had put this ahead of that. But there was no ahead there. I had to make it ahead when I stretched it out. Future and past are being stretched out from there. So that I call that time as timeless time, because there's no time, there's zero. Yet it carries all the events of time. So that's time, timeless time. Then above that, we don't need any of this stuff. We reach timelessness. That means it is not even necessary to have the origin of time left. The origin is even below that. That's our true home. Our true home is beyond all these experiences. They've been generated with the power of consciousness. So that's why all these physical, causal and astral levels, all these spiritual levels, all these levels have been built in zero time. Everything was built in zero time and spread out by devolution of consciousness from level to level till we are sitting here and discussing this whole thing. Isn't it amazing? They're sitting here, far away from reality, far away from this actual experience. We can still talk about it here, and not only talk about it here, have means to practice and experience it while we are still here. If there's a greater miracle than that, I would like to hear about it. People talk of miracles, and I say the fact that you can have this experience sitting here in a physical plane is the greatest of greatest miracles that can happen. We are all experiencing it right now, just by being human beings. Sorry for the long answer.
2 questions. First one, if we are all part of the same soul, what does it mean to go home?
If you are sitting in a lighted room, and light is there in front of you, and you tie a band-aid on your eyes and don't see it, and then you suddenly open and see it, what would you call it? Would you call it enlightenment? Would you call it removal of your blindness? Would you call it light has come? Would you call it you made a journey to the light? What would you call it? We can call it anything depending on how we feel about it. The same is true, that the fact we are making a journey is a concept generated only for our physical plane. The fact that we are going to go back home is only a concept generated here. We are going nowhere. We are at home right now. The journey to our home does not start from somewhere else, does not end anywhere else. It starts from here and ends here. There is a song. My friend Anju sent it to me from London, played by a nice Pakistani musician. It's an Indian song. Ith nahi te kith nahi. That's the title of the song. What it means is, if it is not here, it is nowhere. In another place, Buddha, in one of his teachings, recorded in jatakas, in those little messages of his that were recorded, put into drums. In one of them, he says, find here because there is no there. When he says these things and we realize everything is here, there is no journey. We are removing the different bandages upon our eyes. Therefore, this concept that we have to go home is a concept that we have to go home to our home awareness. We did not lose our home. We could not. There was no other place. We stayed at home, lost awareness of the home, created all the experiences like we are far away from home. And suddenly we found we were at home. They say that there is a particle that runs around and then finds itself. Somebody described a spiritual path also like that we go through all the phases of meditation. We go from stage to stage, journeying from here to there, moving from stage to stage, and come back from where we started and recognize it for the first time. Isn't it amazing that where we are, we recognize after a long journey, round and round, we go into circles and come back to the same spot where we started. Wow, I found out my home. That's the kind of journey to the home. It's not that we have to go anywhere. Going home means discovering that we are, what is our home, and that we are there.
Does reincarnation stop once you go home?
Reincarnation stops halfway. Even when we go to the top of Trikuti, where we picked up our destinies, reincarnation stops. We can be there till dissolution. So therefore, reincarnation is just a function of the last two stages of devolution of consciousness, the physical and astral. That's where we are constantly reincarnating. When we go home, there's no reincarnation.
Can meditation help prevent Alzheimer's and other age-related dementia?
I think it can help, but the patient with Alzheimer's will have recovered so much of his memory, a memory that we are not able to see, that we'll think he's still afflicted with Alzheimer's. But through meditation, which is Alzheimer's, a very interesting disease in which the mind forgets. It's a disease of forgetfulness. It's not a disease of perceptions being lost. No patient of Alzheimer has ever lost perception. Can see right what's happening, doesn't remember anything. And that memory, not even short memory available. What happens, perception is real, and there is enough time in that perception to interact with that perception. That means an Alzheimer's patient is walking, he knows he's walking. He doesn't forget that because it's a present activity. What activity lies within a very small field of time is all known to him as much as known to us. There's no difference. The only difference is he doesn't know what happened before. If an Alzheimer's patient can do meditation, which is not easy, but theoretically he can do meditation, he will recall so much stuff which is not relevant to his own reality, which means he'll remember past lives. He'll remember on the astral stage. He'll remember spiritual things. And when he tries to describe them, they'll make no sense to us. We'll say he's still got Alzheimer's. We won't know, because for us, he's still forgetting what we think ought to be remembered. He has realized that's useless stuff I was trying to remember. And Alzheimer's state is almost like a judgment call by consciousness. What you are trying to remember is silly, useless. It's not going to matter anything. What matters is what was there before you came here. What matters is the astral, the causal, and the true planes of ours. So Alzheimer's people can have access. There have been blind saints who never saw blind from birth. They sang the beauty of the inner regions better than those who had eyes that could see. So you see, what we are seeing here and making memories of things here are not so important as memories of those who are seeing inside. So there is no bar on an Alzheimer's patient also going up into the higher regions and dwelling on those and forgetting the current series of memories of a current life.
When meditating on Simran, I notice that when I listen to the Simran very diligently and with concentration, my head begins to move slightly from side to side without me willing it. It gets more pronounced the deeper I concentrate. A. Am I doing something wrong? B. Is this some spirit or entity creating some obstruction in my meditation?
It is quite normal for people who pull their attention from the body up to the head to feel in the beginning a little imbalance, because the head is holding more awareness than the rest of the body. And the head does sometimes sway like this, sometimes can sway forward, backwards also. Some swaying of the head is possible because so many things that we enjoy in music, for example. You see a great musician performing, and when you want to be in tune with him, what do? I've seen that. Lots of people. Oh, when they chant in Indian temples, everybody saying, why are they moving their heads like this? When they repeat the name of the Lord, oh Lord, why are they moving their heads like this? It's a natural phenomenon. When the attention is gathered more in your receptors in the head and less in the body, the head begins to sway. It can even fall off, the body can fall off sometimes. And therefore, at that stage when somebody comes to me, I recommend either follow Baba Jamal Singh's example or put up some nice pillows around so you don't sway too much. What was Baba Jamal Singh's technique? He was great master's master. He was the master who initiated my master, great master Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh. Now I'm talking of that master. What he did was, he said there are two problems. Swaying of the head can knock me out on one side, or the other thing, I may sway like this and go to sleep. A lot of people, when they sleep, the head goes down. He didn't want to do either of these two things. So he had set up a tall kind of a bench close to the ceiling on which he would meditate. And he put a hook on the ceiling and tied a little rope. And on the rope, he tied his long hair, with a stick. He tied his hair, so every time he meditated, I can imitate his meditation a little bit for you. The meditation ran like this. Ouch! Ouch! But he did not sway, and he did not fall off, and he did not go to sleep. So he had a triple benefit. He died many years before I could see him. I was not even born, but I heard about this hook, and I went to see the hook. The hook is still there. The hook and the platform on which he meditated is still there in a small village in Punjab, India. So People have used so many methods for doing it. We are practical, reasonable people. We know what we're trying to do is not physical. And if there is a little problem like this, we can put a cushion, set up against a wall, so we have some support. We can have additional support. And of course, in early stages of meditation, while you have still not fully vacated the body, a lot of glimpses can come of higher planes. They are very interesting too. But that's a glimpse only. You get a glimpse and then you're back to where you are doing. The glimpse does not last too long because you are so attached to where you are as a physical body. You pull back very quickly. Suddenly, like you are waking up, you're thinking of something, you're drawn away by that thought, and then suddenly you remember where you are. You just jerk up and say, oh, I'm here. So those glimpses, people have had glimpses of the causal plane, and some have had glimpses of beyond the Parbrahm, while they are still in half of their consciousness still in the body, but it's just a glimpse, and then disappeared. In that case, you don't need any pillows or hooks at all. But if you are doing that state of consciousness that regularly your body is being vacated from awareness every day, then you make arrangements like this, and there's nothing wrong with it. Be practical about these things. If somebody has a problem with the knee is paining, and he says, I can't keep my knee in this position, and I want to stretch my legs out and then meditate, of course do it. Because if it's paining and you are trying to meditate, you never meditate. The attention will be always on your pain. Therefore, if you feel, as yoga teacher has taught me, do this lotus position and cross your legs, and that's the only way to meditate. When I do that, I ache so much, you will never succeed in that meditation. Your entire attention will be on the aching legs and your ankles and your knees. Remember, we have to be in such a comfortable state. The real secret of good asana means a posture, position of meditation, is that which is not so painful in any part, not aching to an extent it draws your attention, and not so soft and easy it sends you to sleep. So it's a combination of two things, two extremes. You can go to so much comfort, oh, I like meditation with nice pillows and lying down and with my eyes closed. See how quickly it will make you sleep. Because you're used to sleeping like that. On the other hand, you say, no, I'm trying the hook experiment, but the only thing is I'll keep my head like I'm always in pain. You make no progress. So this is where we have to use our common sense. We can't lose our common sense in these things. I heard a Swami giving a nice talk on the importance of common sense. I got very interested because that's my favorite subject. Because I know common sense is very uncommon. So that's why I said it's called common sense. There must be some reason for it. He was telling people that when you go to a master, a yogi, a teacher, don't leave your common sense behind. Carry it with you to test what he's saying. For example, he gave the story of another man who said, Master, I have another master who's more powerful than you are, because he influences people to such an extent. If he says to a disciple, jump from the top of this building, the disciple will jump. And I tell you, that disciple told this new master, and I tell you, if that master gave me instruction, jump from the house, I'll jump. Can any of your disciples do that? And this master, who believed in common sense, said, my friend, I don't think my disciple will do that. If I do ask my disciple to jump from the house, my disciple will say, Maharaji, master, you jump first. They will not lose their common sense. He gave another example of a man who was walking to his house, and at a nearby place there was a tent where a master was giving a discourse to about 20, 30 people. It started raining. So this man, to avoid the rain, he didn't have an umbrella. He thought for a few moments, I'll go under their tent. He was not a follower of the master, had never heard of the master, and he just went under the tent to prevent getting rain. And he heard the master giving a discourse to them, and he was telling them his own experience. Master was saying, I had this experience myself that one day I was in the forest and a lion came up in front of me. And I stared into the eyes of the lion. And the lion turned around and walked away. And the whole audience said, "Really, Master? What did you do next?" I followed the lion. "Master, then what happened?" Then the lion walked some distance, and I kept on following. Then the lion turned around. And "Master, then what happened?" Then the lion ate me up. This man standing to protect himself from the rain, he said, "Master, I am not your disciple. I just heard, eavesdropped on what you just said. If you were eaten up by the lion, how come you are giving a discourse today here? If you are dead, how are you here?" He says, "You think I'm alive? I am dead." Now here is a master trying to explain something very different from the story. He's trying to explain that we don't live properly. We live like dead people. Now, instead of saying that, he tells the story of being eaten up by a lion. And the people are misunderstanding it, that maybe it's a ghost or a spirit form of master sitting here. They talk of the breeze, Shams the breeze. Somebody claimed that he saw him after 500 years of his death. You could only see his ghost form, spirit form. So these kind of things that come up, we should not lose our common sense. We have been given that to use. We can use our mind. Our mind is not supposed to be put aside. It's supposed to be used for communication, for making sense of things here, for things that need to be analyzed. But it does not help in go within. They don't use it. They control it through meditation, through Simran, and through sound. Those who are initiated will use their mantra given by the masters. Those who are not initiated can use a temporary mantra created by themselves, expressing love for somebody. Close your eyes. Imagine this body of yours is your house in which you live. It has several floors. The lowest floor is right where you're sitting down at the bottom. Then as the floors rise, you are on the 6th floor behind the eyes. And that's the place where you will always meditate. That is your meditation chamber. So go and imagine you are sitting in the middle of this meditation chamber. And you can examine that the house, this body-like house around you on the 6th floor, that you are sitting on top of your throat, you're sitting on top of your body, and the ears are around you, and the eyes are in front of you, your hair is on top of you, and you are sitting relaxed, totally relaxed, no tension. The body has nothing to do with it. There's no pressure on the body or the head or the eyes. You are using your imagination to sit behind the eyes in the center of the head. And whatever comes in front, look at it, but don't follow it. If any sounds come, listen to the sounds attentively, but don't move towards them. If a sound comes from the top, listen while you're sitting relaxed in the center. Sound comes from the right, listen from the center. Sound comes from the left, stay in the center and listen to it. If two sounds come, pick up the one coming from the right or above and drop the other. And if a sound seems to be around you, pick up that and listen to it attentively. Put all your attention on the sound when the sound comes. Meanwhile, keep on repeating the words. If the sound disappears, go back to repetition. And when the sound comes, drop the repetition, listen to the sound.